Good morning, students. Today we will learn history, lesson number 8, tourism and history. Before we start our lesson, let's see what is tourism. Tourism is the activities of people traveling and staying in places outside their hometown. That is for the free time, what we call as a leisure, for business or for other purposes. In simple words, tourism means to move from one place to other place. People like to know about the other place culture. People like to know about the lifestyle of people's living in their places. People like to know about the occupations, religions, and people also love to explore the places. So all this include in tourism. Nowadays, tourism industry is one of the top industry in world, and many countries' economy is good because of tourism industry only. Today in this lesson, we will cover up only 2 points: tourism in the past and types of tourism. So let's start first with the tourism in the past. Tourism in the past means people used to travel right from the olden times. The tradition of traveling is quite old in India. People used to travel for various reasons, like going for the pilgrimage, that is for the Kashi Yatra, or for the Hajj places, going to local fairs and festivals, when any religious festivals held, in search of a renowned teacher and good education, or for the trade. In short, from ancient times, people used to look for the traveling for the various reasons. Now let's see, do you know? The Buddhist literature tells us that Gautam Buddha traveled to several cities in ancient India for preaching. Preaching means giving the moral advice, that is giving speech about religion. Buddhist monks were ordained. Monks are people who devoted all their life to a religion, and ordained means order. So Buddhist monks were ordered not to stay at one place, but keep traveling continuously to various places. Jain monks, sadhus also used to travel constantly. Yuan Zhuang, the Chinese monk, traveled to India in 630 Common Era. In the medieval period, Saint Namdev, Saint Eknath, Guru Nanak, Ramdas Swami used to travel extensively in India. Now let's see in Do You Know? The olden times travelers of other countries of all over the world. The very first we shall learn about Benjamin of Tudela. Benjamin of Tudela is known as the first European traveler or discoverer. He was born in Spain. During the period of 1159 to 1173 Common Era, he traveled to France, Germany, Italy, Greece, Syria, Arabia, Egypt, Iraq, Persia, India, and China. That means he has traveled almost all over the world. And he maintained diaries of the accounts of his travels. That means whatever he saw in travel, he used to write it in diary. And now his diaries are viewed as important historical document. So these handwritten diaries are now sources of history for us. Next traveler is Marco Polo. Marco Polo, the Italian traveler of the 13th century, introduced Asia, especially China, to Europe. He stayed in China for 17 years and he wrote about the flora and fauna, the social life, culture, and trade systems of Asia. And due to his writing, many things about the Asia was known to the Europeans. Now next we shall learn about Ibn Battuta. Ibn Battuta, the traveler of the 14th century, took the world on a virtual travel of the Islamic world with his travel accounts. He was traveling for 30 years. He had resolved not to travel twice on the same route. That means he decided not to visit same place again. And his accounts are helpful in understanding the medieval history and social life. His accounts means his writing, the visit, what he did in his places. So that travelogue he has prepared is now helpful for us to know about the medieval history. Next traveler, Gerardus Mercator. Gerardus Mercator of 16th century was a cartographer. Cartographer means a person who draws or make maps. So he was a map maker. He is known for creating a world map and globe of the earth. His work proved to be very useful for navigation around the world. So when the travelers used to do the circumnavigation, that means all over the world used to travel, so they used to take the map with them. So the map was very helpful for the travelers to travel from one place to other. Now let's learn about the tourism. How the tourism has spread all over the world and how now in modern world the tourism has become one of the important tourism industry. So how it began, the beginning we shall see now. Tourism can be defined as traveling to visit places in distant region for a specific purpose. And in the later half of the 19th century, the name of Thomas Cook is noteworthy in the context of tourism history. Thomas Cook was the first to organize a trip by railway from Leicester to Loughborough for about 600 people. And he took 600 people on traveling to the tourism. Later, he was successful in organizing a round trip of Europe. Eventually, he established a travel agency and selling the tourist tickets. This early venture of Thomas Cook opened the doors for the development of modern tourism. And so now, the people started having their travel agency, booking the tickets and all facilities for the people and making it easier for the people to travel all over the world. Now let's see, do you know? The tradition of traveling from corner to corner was prevalent in India from ancient times. Vishnu Bhat Godse wrote about the accounts of his journey from Maharashtra to Ayodhya and back to Maharashtra. And his written note is written into the book called Maza Pravas. It is published as a book entitled Maza Pravas. Students, did you remember in the previous lesson, that is the sports and tourism lesson, we have learned about the Vishnu Bhat Godse. Vishnu Bhat Godse has wrote the book Maza Pravas, and through this book we came to know about the Rani Lakshmi Bai's daily schedule. What we have learned about Rani Lakshmi Bai, 2 ghatikas, 4 ghatikas, what she used to do in the early morning. So through Maza Pravas book we came to know about the daily routine of Rani Lakshmi Bai. Similarly, Vishnu Bhatt traveled during times of the Indian War of Independence in 1857. That means he has witnessed the 1857 war also. He was the eyewitness for many events related to this historical event. His accounts are full of detailed descriptions about various incidences during this period, especially those about the life of Lakshmi Bai, the Queen of Jhansi. We also get to know the nature of Marathi language of the 18th century. This book is one of the important sources of history of that period. Now let's learn about the types of tourism. There are varieties of tourism. These days, tourisms are broadly classified into various types. So one by one, we will learn each type in detail. The very first, we shall learn about local and interstate tourism. Local and interstate tourism means traveling within one's own country. That is, traveling within India. So traveling in India is easy. There is no hassles because of paperwork, no documents, no visa. There is no need of exchange of currency. We can make changes in the itinerary to suit our convenience. Then languages mostly is not at all an obstacle. We can stay as long as we want. So we can plan it at the time suitable to us. The next tourism is international tourism. Tourism involving people to travel from India to any foreign land or traveling outside India is called international tourism. Nowadays, it has become easier to travel because of the easy availability of a number of options of railway, marine and air transport. Aviation has brought the entire world closer. Aviation means airways, and because of airways, it is easy to travel in short time and faster. So it has brought the entire world closer. As compared to the local tourism, there are lots of problems in international tourism. Like, it is not easy to travel. It is essential to keep documents. We have to provide lots of documents. Visa is required. Then there are the problems in currency exchanges. Then the fixed itinerary has to be followed. That means whatever the traveling agency will give us the itinerary, that only we will have to go and see. Then languages can be an obstacle. Obviously, the languages will be a problem if we go to the foreign country, if we go China, if we go France. If the people don't know the language, it may become difficult. But somewhere now English is an official language all over the world. So if English is used in that country, then it can be possible to communicate. Otherwise, it will become very difficult. Then our stay in foreign land is also limited. It will be for a particular time duration what we are going. We cannot travel as we want and stay how much we want. Nowadays, international tourism has increased a lot. People travel for studies, relaxation, sightseeing and professional assignments. That is for the meetings or for agreements, for business, etc. And also for shooting of films. Lots of film locations are now outside the foreign India. So they mostly prefer for the foreign location. One needs to procure various official documents for traveling abroad. So this is the biggest problem. When we travel to the foreign country, we need a lot of policies to follow. So compared to the local tourism, international tourism is little bit difficult because lots of criteria we have to follow. Now next we shall learn about the historical tourism. Historical tourism is one of the most leading types of tourism all over the world. In order to satisfy everyone's interest in history, tours to historical places are arranged. Historical tours are arranged to see the forts, battlefields, ancient monuments, to know about the historical information, to know about the past. A very good example which can be mentioned is about Gopal Nilkant Dandekar, who was a Marathi writer, and he used to arrange hiking tours to the forts. Hiking means walking and going and seeing the forts very closely. So he used to arrange hiking tours to forts in Maharashtra and closely linked to the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and his achievements. Then important historical sites in India consist of forts in Rajasthan, ashrams of Mahatma Gandhi and Acharya Vinoba Bhave, important places related to the Indian War of Independence of 1857, etc. So these are all the places where people visit are called historical tourism. Next tourism is geographic tourism. Geographic tourism are based on the regions, particularly which is land features or whatever the water bodies. So people are naturally attracted to see the beaches, mountain ranges, valleys, snow-capped peaks, animal sanctuaries, where tours are regularly arranged. Tourists go to see with interest like Valley of Flowers in Uttarakhand, Crater Lake at Lonar, Ranjan Khalge at Nikhoj in Maharashtra. Many tourists like to visit these places to satisfy their curiosity. Next tourism is health tourism. People from the Western countries find the health services and facilities in India comparatively cheaper and yet of good standard. Hence, many foreigners prefer to come to India to avail the medical facilities and health services. India is a tropical country where ample sunlight is available throughout the year. This attracts tourists from countries with cold climate to India. And the availability of facilities for yoga training and therapies based on Ayurveda is one more reason people who wanted to visit India. Now next we shall learn about the agro-tourism. Agro-tourism, which is also known as agri-tourism, that is related to the agriculture. So agro-tourism is rapidly developing, especially in the urban population, because they are less exposed to the rural life and agriculture. Now Indian farmers are also visiting faraway places like agriculture research centers, agriculture universities, and countries like Israel, where experimentation is done in advanced technology. And so our Indian farmers also visited Israel to see the modern techniques in farming and learn and do the same techniques in our own country. Next we shall learn about the sports tourism. Sports tourism was developed in the 20th century. There are various sports events organized on international levels like Olympics, Wimbledon, World Chess Championship, and international cricket tournaments. While there are events like Himalayan Car Rally on national level, events like Maharashtra Kesari wrestling competitions are organized on state level. Traveling to attend such events comes under the sports tourism. Now also you must have seen the IPL matches are going on. So all Indians and many of the cricketers went to the Dubai to play this IPL match. So that is what, for the official purpose of playing the sports, they went there. So that is what called as a sports tourism. And similarly, the people who loved to watch cricket, they are the fans of the cricketers or they are fans of the game, so they also go to the places to visit, so they are also counted into the sports tourism. The next tourism is tourism based on special events. Now many religious and literary conferences are held in the world. International seminars, book exhibitions and conferences are held. Film festivals are arranged. Such events promote tourism, and people who travel for these reasons is known as tourism based on special events. Now let's see, you would like to know this. People of various religious communities are dispersed globally. However, they feel united because of their mythological traditions and the places associated with those traditions. That means they are attached to their own religion. They have that emotional attachment towards their religion, towards their places. This creates a desire to travel to those places, and it gives rise to religious tourism. In this context, the constructions undertaken by Ahilya Bai Holkar, spending from her personal funds, are noteworthy. Ahilya Bai wanted to provide good amenities on the pilgrim routes like Char Dham Yatra and 12 Jyotirlings. So she used to make the facilities for the people who are going on the pilgrimage places. So she must have made the facilities like building up the ashrams for the people to stay, some food, water facilities. So some basic things she used to make the people to be available so that they can promote more religious tourism. And not only promoting religious tourism, but the intention is for the people to keep preserving our own culture and traditions towards the world. Students, I stop here now. The remaining part we shall learn in the next lecture. So goodbye and take care.